Here's the abortion industry's plan for a post-Roe America. In this game of whack-a-mole, Students for Life of America is actively tracking the general mayhem that's being proposed by abortion-loving politicians in their frantic fervor to continue killing kids. So prepare to be overwhelmed here. I'm going to go through a list of current pro-abortion plans, task forces, and overall havoc, and it's long. First, 83 pro-abortion Democrats want President Biden to further abuse states' rights using the hubris of COVID bans to end life-saving laws. Second, HHS Secretary Javier Becerra, an attorney known for going after the FDA while acting Attorney General of California and voting for partial birth abortion when he was a congressman, has pledged to use his office for more abortion through numerous channels. Oh, and did we mention he also now is in charge of the FDA? A man who sued the FDA is now in charge of the FDA. SFLA Action warned Congress that Becerra should not have been confirmed because of his pro-abortion extremism. And it appears we kind of were prophetic in that. Becerra has started with his favorite chemical abortion pills. Why does he love them so much? Well, because the despicable, in his words, Supreme Court ruling made it seem like saying no to abortion at the state level was a choice that people should have. He also made it clear that pro-life pharmacists better push abortion, or else. This attack on pharmacists has actually been going on for a while, and it's actually one that the Supreme Court has refused to hear as of now. Third, Attorney General Merrick Garland expressed his anger at the Dobbs ruling. Thank goodness he never got in the Supreme Court. Thank you, President Trump. By deciding that enforcing laws was not his thing as the chief law enforcement officer of our country. Instead, he set up a reproductive rights task force, something they love to do in Washington, D.C., to see how the federal government can now violate and intervene in state laws. The Washington Post reported the task force, led by Associate Attorney General Gupta, will be charged with monitoring and evaluating state and local legislation and weighing legal action against states that ban abortion medication, chemical abortion pills, or attempt to block a pregnant woman from traveling out of state for an abortion, among other measures. The effort will include dedicated staff and representatives from a wide swath of the Justice Department, including the Civil Division, U.S. Attorney's offices, the Civil Rights Division, the Office of Legal Counsel, the Office of Access to Justice, that's like a new one, and the Office of the Solicitor General. Abortion-loving prosecutors are following the example of Merrick Garland, our nation's top law enforcement officer, by now in states pledging not to enforce pro-life laws. Announcements are made on this front almost daily. Dozens of law enforcement officials signed a letter post-Dobbs decision saying they would not do their jobs if the laws in their state were pro-life. This is actually what led to, by the way, the creation of the heartbeat law in Texas using this innovative term, civil enforcement, because some of the state's district attorneys in the largest cities signed an open letter stating that if the law changed in Texas to ban abortions and, protect women and children from the predatory abortion industry, they wouldn't do their job. So that is why the civil enforcement of the heartbeat law in Texas is so powerful, because it removes district attorneys, those who are like sworn to uphold the laws of the state or whatever, that pledge basically anarchy by not doing their job. It removes them from even being involved because it allows individual citizens to sue an abortionist for killing babies. 4, at the Pentagon, pro-abortion Democrats are also now lobbying to allow service members who are stationed in states that have banned abortion or plan to do so to take leave, the thing we pay for as taxpayers, paid leave to travel to have an abortion committed. Next, Senator Warren and the infamous AOC, Congressman Cortez, have championed an idea for the Biden administration to take federal land in states that don't want abortion to set up, at taxpayer expense, abortion facilities. We've already spearheaded a letter at Students for Life Action that was signed by nearly 40 pro-life and pro-family leaders, pointing out that this idea is, both legally and morally wrong. I do not want my beautiful Grand Teton Park or Yellowstone National Park turned into an abortion facility. I also don't want to see our veterans medical centers, those things we pay for with tax dollars, turned into abortion facilities either. And I doubt our nation's veterans want to be receiving care in the same building that's ending human life. Senator Warren has already made strident calls demanding to shut down pregnancy care centers because the free services, like free diapers and formula, which if you're lucky to find, thank you, President Biden, that is getting in the way and it's pressuring women not to kill their babies. All right, this keeps going on. Democrats are now calling numerous hearings on Capitol Hill to make a case for even more federal intervention. During a recent round of hearings, Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri made big news in a confrontation with a UC Berkeley professor, Kira Bridges, who insisted that you don't have to be a woman to need an abortion. You should Google that exchange. It's quite interesting. Senator Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi are also both ignoring violence against pro-lifers and going through a series of tortured votes on the so-called Women's Health Protection Act, better named the Women's Health Endangerment Act. This bill would codify Roe and actually go further than Roe versus Wade and Doe v. Bolton and the horror it allowed by not only guaranteeing that abortion should be legal in all 9 months, and for any reason, but also with taxpayer funding. It would prevent states from passing any pro-life laws and get rid of the conscience rights of medical professionals who believe in the oath of do not harm, includes the patients, that science proves are in the womb. This bill has passed the U.S. House twice this year and has only failed the Senate because of 1 or 2 votes. Democrats have guaranteed that if they win substantial majorities in the 2022 midterm elections, they will swiftly pass, and President Biden has pledged, the president who used to say he was pro-life, will sign it into law. Also, not to mention, Nancy Pelosi has recently refused a motion made by Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana to just pass a motion condemning the violence against churches and pregnancy centers this summer, by the way. Just adding that in there. Next, what else is happening? Well, governors who love abortion also want their headlines too. They don't want to be left out of this abortion love fest. So a number of governors who are pro-abortion are signing executive orders to ensure voters and visitors that you can end life in their state. Gavin Newsom comes to mind. And last but not least, let's not mention the Biden administration trying to bring back Roe through regulation, not legislation. Because they keep losing because of, Senator Manchin and a couple others in the U.S. Senate who kind of think that taxpayers don't want to be funding abortion in all 9 months, which is, by the way, widely unpopular in every poll that's ever taken. The Biden administration has even a more stealth plan, something you may not have heard about. I encourage you to go to studentsforlifeaction.org/sex. There's actually 2 things that are urgently happening. And the Department of Health and Human Services, first, is attempting to change language in the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, in Section 1557. You need to memorize this. This would mandate that certain healthcare services be paid for in the name of non-discrimination. So you know how the Biden administration is trying to redefine what inflation is? That's exactly what they're doing here. They're trying to redefine the term non-discrimination. And so they're basically saying that discrimination, here's a quote, this this rule change makes clear that discrimination on the basis of sex includes discrimination on the basis, here's a key phrase, of pregnancy or related conditions, including pregnancy termination. So what this will mean is that all these health insurance plans will have to include abortion, because if not, you will be discriminating based on a person's sex, because they're going to include pregnancy termination in that phraseology. So that's the first thing Department of Health and Human Services is doing. And we need folks to write to HHS and tell them, stop trying to redefine sex discrimination in order to kill more babies. In addition, just half a block down the street, Department of Education, there's now a rule change to Title IX. That's a thing that protects women's sports and created women's sports leagues to ensure women have equal access to educational opportunities, something that we should all be for. They are also going to change the definition of sex to include protections for pregnancy-related conditions, including pregnancy termination. Same deal. This is insane. We also need you to write the Department of Education and tell them not to do this. These are insane actions. But for people who don't understand that only women can get pregnant, or that two consecutive quarters of no growth is actually a recession, and they're trying to change all that, we shouldn't really be surprised. I'm not kidding. This list is long, and it is growing longer by the day. And sadly, this is only just the beginning. This is why our generation, the post-Roe generation, needs to step in and work. If you haven't already, sign up, volunteer, work with Students for Life Action to counter all of these attempts to thwart the Dobbs decision and subsequent pro-life decisions in the states. We really need you, pro-life Gen, post-Roe Gen. We need you to step up, because there's a lot of work, as you can see, that we need to do.